Hey.
Hello and welcome to the VIP show. My name is James Taylor, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, and artificial intelligence.
And I'm Alison Burns, the ethical futurist. You might ask what that is, but you'll find out.
So this is a new show that we've decided to create. This isn't our first rodeo. We did our first rodeo.
Rodeo?
Yeah, American
I've never done a rodeo in my life.
It's very popular in Scotland. But we did our first live stream show in 2012, a show called the 5 o'clock show.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere show, which we filmed in California, in Napa in California. And it was great fun. Early days of live streaming. Now technology is getting a little bit better. So this is our pilot. Now, what is the VIP show? I hear you say. So tell everyone, like, what is this show going to be about? What do we think it's going to be about anyway?
Well, we had an idea and we were thinking, wouldn't it be great to just interview or speak about very interesting people or interesting subjects? So we've got that as a shape, that as our format. So it's going to be the show in the future. We'll have a very interesting person that we can speak to, and it can be from any walk of life. So anything on any subject as well. So it's just that it's interesting.
Yeah. So VIP doesn't stand for very important person. It actually stands for very interesting person.
Well, they could be interesting and important. But then they can just be interesting, but also not very important. Well, that I don't really mean.
But we are.
I don't know, but they're important to us.
They're important to us, yeah.
But important to us.
So we're going to have coming up. We're going to have a different guest every week, a very interesting person every week. And we're thinking that the format of the show is this up little pilot, but the format of the show will be each week we will share an interesting business. A business is doing something interesting. It could be from an innovation standpoint or an ethical standpoint, environmental, sustainability standpoint. A very interesting person, someone who's just either is interesting or they're just doing something interesting
stuff.
And we think more people should know about them. And then thirdly, just interesting things, little fun things that we've seen. They could be an app, or they think more people should learn about and should experience.
Interesting to us.
Interesting to us. It could be interesting.
Hopefully interesting to you.
And this is definitely, this is going to be a work in progress style show. So you have the chat, depending on where you're joining us from. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave comments here. Please ensure that you subscribe to the show. If you're watching, perhaps you're watching on LinkedIn, in which case follow my James Taylor profile on LinkedIn. And maybe you're watching on Alison's on Twitter, on Periscope. So in which case, follow you.
You can come and follow me on Twitter, and my handle is at Alison Burns Jazz.
Alison Burns Jazz. So let's get into our first part of the show. This is our interesting business of the week. So Alison, I'm going to leave this to you. Let's talk about a business you find really interesting and tell us why you find them interesting. We'll show some images up here as well.
Okay, here's a business that actually they started in Scotland, and I first became aware of them when we went to Perth in Scotland, and there was a farmer's market, and we saw a small stand. It was around about 2007. So that's about, what, 13 years ago or so. And so they were selling these craft beers, but as I did a little bit of research on them, and they've grown into this huge company. They're now a PLC, and they're called Brewdog. But they started off, the two founders, James and Martin, they started off brewing craft beer in, I think it was Martin's mum's garage. And now they're an entirely international company. But what caught my eye about Brewdog in particular is just the way that they conduct business. They're doing some amazing things. You know, for example, for the start of the pandemic, when there was a mad rush. It was like hand sanitizer was like gold. So it was like a gold rush on the hand sanitizer. And these guys turned their hands immediately and said, okay, we've got the alcohol. We'll just do it. They've just got a let's just do it attitude, which I totally love. So this is their punk sanitizers. Look, they're quite punky. So they break rules. They kind of don't conform. That's one of their it's in their charter. They don't conform, but obviously they don't do things unless they absolutely love doing it. So their heart's in the right place immensely.
And obviously you speak about, your topic is about speaking about ethical and being an ethical business. This campaign I thought was really interesting. What this business, so explain what Brewdog did. So they did the things with the sanitizers and when all the COVID started hitting the pandemic, but what does this image here represent?
Well, they've got bigger plans, because the bigger plans is their plan was to become carbon neutral, not just neutral, but carbon negative. So that's what they're rolling out, and they're planting trees. They've got this huge mission to plant thousands of trees, and they've started it. So this is like their craft beers with trees in them, but they've got a great way of telling the public as well, and promoting what they do. But they're not just promoting just for them, but they actually want to do good. And what I love about them is they want to leave the planet in a better condition than they found it. So they're highly ethical, and I love what is it? They've got a charter. The website's fascinating. They've got a charter. They says, if we don't love it, we don't do it ever. That's it. End of.
But they're part of I guess a wider thing that's going on just now in business, where you have these more purpose-driven businesses.
Absolutely.
Companies like Salesforce. Obviously, the founder of Salesforce talks a lot about this as well. I'll show up some other fun things that they do. This is their sustainability report. This is Brewdog's punked up plan. Make Earth great again, which is
that's a handy catchphrase. Wonder.
They get
Sounds familiar.
The team there are brilliant at understanding PR. They're a little bit like can understand, like Richard Branson or Elon Musk, understanding the value of PR. I know we've got.
Well, they've even got a lockdown IP, I think it is. So there's they're really, but they did a fascinating thing as well with I think it was Ricky Gervais was drinking. He does a live program twice a week, I think it is, on Periscope and possibly on Facebook. But he was drinking one of the Brewdog craft beers, and they got in touch with him. As far as I know, hopefully the story is right. But they got in touch and saying we couldn't have paid for that kind of publicity, and they wanted to make a contribution. He says, well, rather than make a contribution, because big stars, big celebrities get paid money to endorse things. Oh, Ricky Gervais is not interested. He said, well, why don't you give money to animal charities? So they teamed up with All Dogs Matter in London, Animals Asia, I think it's Noah's Animals charity as well, and Dots in London. So anyway, I think there's 4 charities. And so what they did was they did a great thing with All Dogs Matter. Do you remember was it in the 70s or 80s? I can't remember, but it was way back. It was throwback beer instead of throw up beer. Throwback beer, where they used to put on the cans, it's very un-PC, they used to put on the cans of lager, I think it was Tennent's, pictures of females, and it was always.
I remember it was like Sweetheart Stout or those kind of
and it was always
lager.
like Sally, Yeah. But anyway, so obviously that doesn't happen anymore. But, yeah, exactly. But what Brewdog have done, if you got a picture of that, it's the Brewdog.
I don't know if we've got that picture up. Maybe if you go online, maybe we'll put a thing in the comment section.
But what they did was they put pictures of the dogs that were looking to be rehomed. So obviously, adopt, don't shop, which is the catchphrase. But they took the pictures of the dogs that were needing rehomed from All Dogs Matter, and put them on the cans, and they helped rehome all these dogs. And this is happening through a pandemic as well, which is unbelievable. They've got some great ethics driving the business forward, and everyone who buys into it can also become a shareholder. So I think they're actually having a stock sale just now. So you should have a look at their website, because it's fascinating, and read their charter and their vision. And I just think they totally rock. It's my cup of tea. Brewdog's my cup of tea.
So if you haven't had a Brewdog, go and check them out. I know we've got a lot. Who've got joining us just now? We've got Liz Smith from, I don't know, Liz, where you from? Ella Glasgow, from Glasgow, perhaps, maybe even the UK, from Scotland. We've got Shana Chino from the Philippines. So regardless where you're at, go and check out Brewdog. They're a great example of a very interesting company, a company that's doing interesting work in a very more ethical, sustainable way. So having said that, one of the charities I know that we support a lot is Soy Dogs,
Yes.
which is based in Bangkok, and it rescues a lot of dogs, street dogs, and kind of takes care of them, gives them veterinary care. And the last time that we were in Bangkok, let me put your picture up just now. This is quite fun. We have had a lot of fun there last time. Let me put this up here. See if you can see it. So this is an event I was speaking at, and you were kind of also working on. It was for McDonald's and M Academy, which is the training arm of McDonald's in Thailand. And we did an event, Unlock Your Creative Potential, and they brought in people from some of the McDonald's owners, franchise owners around Thailand, around Southeast Asia, as well as lots of people from airlines, tourism industry in Thailand. It was a really, really cool event. And so we've got a kind of natural connection with Thailand. We like Thai people, like working in Thailand, speaking in Thailand, doing events in Thailand. So for our interesting person of the week, I wanted to show he's a YouTuber I just came across recently, and we'll put maybe put his links here. His YouTube channel is called Retired Working for You. Retired Working for You. Now, here's what's interesting about this person. His name's Chris. Chris is a Canadian. He lived in Los Angeles. He worked in the film industry, very successful working in the film industry. And then him and his wife decided to kind of retire and move to Thailand. But he started getting into YouTubing and being a YouTube kind of influencer. But
you said the I word,
which I hate. I hate the word influencer. Maybe he might not say call himself an influencer himself. But what I thought was interesting is a lot of YouTubers in that kind of influencer space they're very much promoting themselves, promoting them in driving Lamborghinis and sports cars, private jets. That's it's that lifestyle that often gets promoted in that influencer space. Chris, he does something slightly different. I'm going to show a little video here. We're not going to have audio, but maybe I can just talk you through it just now. So he started doing his. Here we go. He started doing his YouTube channel, but instead of all the revenue coming in, the advertising revenue that YouTubers get paid, instead of just kind of putting that in his back pocket, he does a pay it forward campaign pretty much, I think, every month. So he takes the money that he's making as an advertiser on YouTube and then goes and does interesting things. So this video here is show you. He took his money from this month, I think it was like $70 or something, and he went to a fresh fruit stall and he went and bought all the fruit, said to the stall owner, this is his name here, put his name up, it's Chris Parker.
He always wears an awkward t-shirt with awkward. Yeah,
very, very nice guy. And he does these videos all about living in Thailand and Bangkok and retiring there. But he does these pay it forward videos. And what he decided to do is take his $70 that he made from his first month advertising, doing his YouTube ads, and going to a stall, a fruit stall, and buying all the fruit there for the whole day. And what he did is when people would come up to the stall like they would normally do, they would just be given the fruit for free.
Oh, that's fantastic. So then they let them know that this has been a pay it forward.
Yeah. So essentially, Rob,
kindness.
so his subscribers, his YouTube subscribers, are paying it forward. So it's a great way he was able to really do good with his YouTube money that was coming in from advertising. Just do something really fun, something really nice. It wasn't about buying a Lamborghini or a fast car or something like that, but actually just really doing something good. And they had students kind of going up to the stall. They had workers coming up and they couldn't believe it. Because I don't know if you've ever had that experience of someone tries to give you something for free. And it's kind of feels like...
Yeah, actually someone offered me a book for free the other day and I thought, and it does feel strange. It wasn't for any other purpose than just to have it. And yeah, but we've paid it forward. We used to do that on the road bridge. Going into the city, which is closest to
this is a fun game. I know we've got Shana Chino in over there in the Philippines. I just did an event the other day for the Metro Pacific Tollways group, which is they own all the tollways and the tolls in the Philippines. And we used to do a thing which was really fun when we lived in California, on the Golden Gate Bridge, I think it was, or the other bridge.
I can't remember which one. Was it it was going across, it was the other side of the bay. It was the East Bay Bridge. I can't remember the name of it.
So say what we used to do. If you want to try this at home.
We used to rock up to the toll with our dollars and would say, here's our dollars, but we're also paying for the car behind. And they say, oh, it's like it would take the toll person by surprise, but also would take the person behind by surprise. So it was just a nice thing. And you hope that, it's kindness is contagious. So it's a nice thing to do.
So the thing, I just wanted to give a shout out to this YouTuber and just say that Chris is doing great stuff. Thank you so much for doing this and kind of putting this out into the world and using kind of social media for good. Social media gets and YouTube gets a lot of bad cred, but I thought this was a really nice way of paying it forward. So he is going to be a very interesting person of the week. Who knows? Might even have him on the show in the future.
Well, that would be nice.
So let's talk about our very interesting thing of the week. Well, this could be anything. Anything. So let's see what.
Well, actually, I'm going to talk very briefly, because I'm only halfway through this book, about this book, and it's called Save the Cat. Now, it's not actually what you think it's about. It's not about saving cats. It's actually about screenwriting, but it's great. It's got me about halfway through. So far, I'm working out that a lot of these principles in this book, obviously, it's to do with storytelling and the story arc and what should be in it, but things I didn't know about. Well, you sort of know, but you don't really know about how you pitch a film or a screenplay or something. So if you're going to see a movie, if you say you're looking up the local website to see what's on the picture house, the cinema, and you get maybe one or two sentences about the film, and it's got to sell you the film within those one or two sentences. You've got to capture the essence of the film. It's got to have really the whole story wrapped up in a couple of lines. And that's what they call a log line. And if it's a really good log line, it will tell you pretty much, without any spoilers, but it will tell you roughly the whole thing. So it's rather than looking through all the movie listings and saying, oh no, what else is on? So what else is on? Because you say, well, that log line's got to grab you. So it's like if you're selling. It's like when you go into like Netflix, you're scrolling all the time and you're just seeing it's basically the image and that log line. That's the log line. That sentence that sells the film. And the log line has got to compel the reader or the listener, if you're listening to it being read. It's got to reflect the story. It's got to encapsulate the story, the essence of the story, and it's also got to have in there the essence of the tension that's kind of being combated. And it's like, there's going to be hopefully a happy ending or not. But and also in this book as well, it's called Save the Cat. I should say the writer is Blake Snyder. And it says, it's the last book on screenwriting that you'll ever need. And I'm only halfway through it, and I just can't wait to get through to the end. It's really good. What's in it, as storytelling. As you've been talking to me about this book, I think there's so many applications. That idea of the log line. Whether you're selling any kind of product or a service or a business, being able to bring that down to one sentence or two sentences that really just kind of convey the emotion, the power of that product, that service, and how it transforms, how it helps people's lives, I think is a really powerful thing that marketers. So I think a lot of marketers could do with checking out this book, Save the Cat. That's Save the Cat. Blake but Snyder. Do you know what Save the Cat actually means in filmmaking? I find it fascinating. There's a bit in the film where it's the hero. It's not about saving a cat, but it's that point in the film or the story where there's something really bad and awful going to happen, but you save the cat. So you could be in a speech or if you're giving a pitch on something, you just say there's something that maybe the business isn't going too well, but actually the way to save the cat is this. But it's a great book, so I would advise, even if you're not a screenwriter, but if you're interested in storytelling and just how to convey a good story, and tell tales. It's really.
It reminds me. Actually, so that it reminds me that there was that thing about storytelling. Have any speakers watching where the cat sat on the mat? That's not a really interesting story. The cat sat on the dog's mat. That's an interesting story. So it's like how you can frame these things. So this is a book. So it's called. It's
not a who done it. It's a why done it.
Why? Yeah. Start with why.
Start with why.
So this is Blake Snyder. This is your Save the Cat is the name of the book.
Also, there's one thing, and there's a quote in this book which I loved, and it was actually from Sam Goldwyn, from the movies.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
Exactly. And it's like, I suppose you've got people who speak about leadership or give presentations on the same subjects. But what he said about stories was, give me the same, only different. I love that.
Yeah.
It's great. Give me the same, but only different.
It's like why
put your twist on it.
It's like why all these, Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3, because people want the same but different as well. So
exactly.
Great. So that's your interesting. I'm going to give my interesting thing of the week. So in a last minute edition, I want to give a shout out. This is another book. It doesn't always have to be books. We'll be sharing other things as well. But this is a book called 18 Steps to an All-Star LinkedIn Profile. And it's by an author both Alison and I know called Andrea T. Edwards. I actually spoke about it in my roundup of my favorite books of 2020. But the reason I kind of put it in here is because this show we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on LinkedIn, we're streaming on Periscope for Twitter. And so LinkedIn is going to be a big thing. We're going to spend quite a bit of time this year to build stuff. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn just now, this show, make sure you click the follow button. If you're watching on Alison's Twitter, then make sure that you follow her there as well. But this is, if you want to understand about LinkedIn marketing, Andrea it's not gimmicks. It's not a kind of gimmicky type book. It's very, very kind of solid information. She works with really big clients like IBM, and they really trust her to ensure that the company and everyone in the organization is kind of getting out messages via social media in the right way, in the right time, in the right tone. So this is it. I mean,
Andrea's brilliant.
She's great.
I love it. But also as well, she's got another book coming up. Maybe, I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. I'll not say what it is. You like to say that?
Well, I don't know. I didn't know about the book.
I'm not going to tell you the title because it's not my place.
Watch this space.
It's not my place, but I think I'm getting an advance copy, which I know I have.
Okay, well.
So I'm going to review it. Not review it, but read it. But I know it's going to be brilliant.
Okay, once we're allowed to reveal, we'll let you know more. So there you go. So this is a little trailer for a little kind of pilot, I guess, for the show, for the VIP show, the Very Interesting Person show, where we've covered interesting business, an interesting person, and some interesting things.
Very influential people.
Oh, very influential.
Very influential.
Very influential. Yeah. So thanks to everyone for everyone's comments. We're going to get more people in here. We've had I'm seeing like some of these comments. Liz Smith, Brewdog, they're amazing.
They are.
Who's it? Loch Lomond Group of Brewdog produced the sanitizers. Great idea.
Fantastic idea.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great. So please make sure that you join us. I think we're going to be doing this show at 4 o'clock. It's definitely weekly. It's going to be on Wednesdays. Is it Wednesday today?
It is Wednesday.
It's Wednesday today.
It's lockdown.
We're either going to be going 4 or 5 o'clock. Probably today we're doing at 4 p.m.
So it could be
UK
4, it
time.
could be 5.
We're gonna figure out the time that works for the most people. And if you are here for the very first time, then please on LinkedIn click on that follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, the James Taylor James Taylor Me channel. You can find that. And if you're watching over on Twitter, on Alison's Periscope on Twitter, then you're / Alison Burns.
Or at
Alison Burns Jazz.
Alison Burns Jazz.
There you go. Well,
and all too soon it was over.
Thank you so much for coming and watching our little madness. This will be the most basic version of this show.
This is the most calm and gentle version. The future ones will be.
This is our minimum viable product of the show. So thanks so much for coming and joining us. We're going to hopefully have some fun guests soon as well. So
stay safe,
stay well, and keep creating. Take care. Bye-bye.